Saturn is our timeline. It's like laws, rules, reality, our relationship to physical, the physical world. And so we know we're getting a timeline makeover. We've got to. And it's very powerful to have Saturn at 1 degree Aries. It's saying new, one, wholeness, the whole I am, that the new timeline is about coming into our full potential. We're not going to stay in this loop-de-loop garbage anymore where we are hiding from our own power and playing small and being content with external powers outside of ourselves stealing our energy and our power and our money. We can't do it anymore. Now, this is the energy of the Jupiter square Saturn and Neptune. It's like there's a cog in the wheel, right? So the energy, just be really, really patient. Try to slow down, try to breathe, try to understand that we are in this massive labor pain at this point with this square, Jupiter square Saturn, Jupiter square Neptune. And so there's a feeling of weirdness because we got Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, which is illusions and delusions, but also spiritual path and spiritual service. And so the Neptune conjunction with Saturn, which is going to continue through this year, is this invitation to bring our physical reality and our new timeline into alignment with our dream. And what is our dream? In order to know our dream, we have to go back to the original dream that Mother Earth had when she became our world, our goddess, Great Mother's daughter. You could see it like that. This embodiment of the goddess we get to walk upon and breathe upon. She is a sentient being. And so we've got to come back into communication with her. And this is exactly what the astrology is saying. And so it's so incredibly powerful that Jupiter is hanging out here at the very beginning degrees of Cancer. And Jupiter is expansion and growth and more and luck and money and amplification of whatever it comes across. So in Cancer, at the very beginning degrees, it's this amplification of mother energy. The same thing we're talking about that built our world, that we were there when she imagined it into being. And we get to be a part of this experience as her stewards. We are the rightful inheritors of her wealth. Now, the lower matrix paradigms have tried to keep us continually distracted and do with chasing after, poverty and scarcity vibrations and programs, keeping us chasing after the shiny things and the things that we think are wealth. And then the energy of distracting us continually from our spiritual purpose, from the true wealth. So our whole world has to transfer back into true wealth. And that is exactly why we sit at the precipice of a new world right now, with Uranus just tomorrow moving to 29 degrees of Taurus. And so this is a very powerful energy for us with Uranus coming to the end degrees of Taurus, saying the culmination of our issues around whether or not we deserve and feel worthy of our higher power. Now, Uranus, we're coming to find in this last chapter over the last couple of years of Uranus in Taurus, we've had this energy come forward of like a gatekeeper energy, that Uranus has this kind of there is higher knowledge and wisdom. It will trickle down to you if you're worthy, or you prove yourself, or you pay off the right person, or whatever needs to happen. So there's this gatekeeper energy in the lower vibration of Uranus and the ruler of Aquarius, saying that you're not good enough, you can't handle it, right? Like you can't handle your own power. You probably probably do bad things. And it's like, no, no, no. You do bad things if you have a bad heart. Supernova souls were earth stewards. And yes, they have tried to corrupt us down to a cellular DNA level. They have been trying to convince us that we're something different than what we are. And this is the astrology. The astrology is saying that we cannot hide from who we really are in our identity. We've been allowing ourselves to be gaslit. If you know the term, it's about where someone's trying to tell you something that's not true, that's clearly not true in your world. But then by just arguing with you and telling you a different story, they make you think that you're crazy and doubt your truth. And therefore you doubt your intuition. So our whole world programming is based on this gaslighting concept, And so we've been surrounded by people, supernova souls, who are playing a very specific karmic role to argue with us, deny the truth of spirituality, to make fun of us, to ostracize us, to make us feel different and weird. And, it's interesting because all the spiritual truth that we might want to talk about and move into that is so threatening to them, that they're so angry at, and so much hatred and caustic energy towards us. But if we distill it down of our spiritual path, if you are, for supernova souls, it's like what it really is love. So they're against love of like the energy that makes the world go around. The only commodity we actually have, which is it's the same as life force energy, And so we have by birthright this amount of life force energy. And apparently these forces, through all of these mechanisms of control, have kept us at simply a trickle. And so how do we own this back? How do we step into this power and say, oh yeah, this is mine. I know how to use it. I'm not scared. And I'm not going to listen to your gaslighting that it's not real or that's going to hurt me or anything. So it's like this continual denial in our world and distraction, right? So we're constantly distracted through traumas and issues. And, if you feel like this constantly targeted with these emotionally triggering issues that seem to come out of nowhere, it's literally targeting through an AI system because you are trying to stay awake and alive and in your own life and soul and essence. And they're after you for that. All of us. This used to be just some people were targeted, right? But anybody who's not going along with the computer simulation model and becoming a part of it has been getting harassed, And this is huge messages coming in for supernova souls. Like, I can see this as maybe on another level, on another level of consciousness experience from this 3D experience. But I really do think it or whatever D we're in, whatever this is that's happening, wherever we're going. But at some point in this reality experience, it feels like there's a possibility for this revealing, because this targeting can only happen through digital harassment, right? Like they have to have all your information, they have to have all this. So that means that anything that's been done to you, which you have no idea, most people have no idea the level of targeting. They just think their life is messed up, And but that's all digital, so it's all recorded, right? There's a record of all of it. And so we know exactly what has happened in these situations. And what would it be like? And I feel like I wish I could do this for you right now, maybe energetically on the astral plane, because I'm starting to have a better understanding of what this type of energy is that supernova souls have been dealing with over lifetimes, but particularly right now. And if you could understand the level of interference in your physical body, you're trying to manipulate your emotions, and just the harassment type energies, and making sure you're surrounded by low vibration people and surrounded by technology and surrounded by poison. Specifically you, like this is what's going on. If you knew all of these things that they have done deliberately to everyone, but specifically to supernova souls or advanced souls that are not buying in to the robot plan, um, you would be so freaked out, but you'd also be really compassionate towards yourself. And, maybe we are going through this like massive, quick, crazy situation of having to wake up into our power really quick and be prepared really quick and heal our emotional pain really quick. And um, so is all of this has been happening to us part of a greater spiritual initiation, because it all does happen within the one, and so then we graduate when we graduate. And so it's really hard though, because it's just been like, where is just a little bit of compassion and support? Like, can we just try learning and growing that way instead of all of this constant pain and trauma, you know? And then you have to find space to get out of the trauma energy in order to heal the trauma energy, And so, but if you understood the forces that have been deliberately working against you, you would have so much more compassion and understanding for yourself. And you'd also know what a badass you are. Because if they're like doing all this, like a lot of the emotional triggering, there's triggering that's like trying to keep us off our game. And then there's emotional triggering trying to keep us from being able to focus and move forward spiritually, specifically. And so if we can understand that the triggers can only trigger till there's something to trigger, and that we're in the nitty gritty of this really intense, excruciating, but intense and powerful time of transformation. Like, this is literally when we break free from the old skin in the transformation, this year of the snake. And when that old skin, it's not going to come off until it gets a little bit uncomfortable, or a lot uncomfortable, right? And we don't know who we are underneath it. And after a snake sheds its skin, it's pretty vulnerable. It's not able to move as quickly, and it does not have that protection and so it's more vulnerable to predators. Is this how you're feeling right now? Just shadow away, everything just torn away from your life and very vulnerable to predators everywhere around, right? But can you feel this is shifting? There is something going on where the negative control forces are losing their grip. And it's interesting because there'll be squeezes of intense energy, but then like this peace that can come over. And just remember this, okay? Because we are in the most intense squares, because we also have Mars in square to Uranus at the end of Taurus. And we're talking about this whole issue, this culmination of whether or not we can handle and deserve our own power. And if we don't figure that out, then we're doomed. And we're apparently the cream of the crop as far as past life souls who have worked with advanced power in our bodies. So that's why we're here at this place at the cutting edge. And yet we're broken, or at least a lot of supernova souls have gone through so much. And it's like, how can you hit the ground running when you're so broken? And this is just this spiritual exhaustion that's just washing over this, like, just like, enough is enough. I'm just done. And that is exactly the place we have to get to overcome the fear programming and step into our power.